Hi, I'm Jordan McDonald, staff writer with GovCIO Media and Research, and welcome to GovCast. Today we're joined by Bob Cunningham, Executive Director for Enterprise Command Operations at the Department of Veteran Affairs. Hi, Bob. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, how you doing?
Great. And, glad to have you in the new year. Bob, you've got a really interesting job within the VA. Could you sort of tell me about your role within the agency and how managing the help desk contributes to the VA's larger mission of serving veterans?
Absolutely. So in my role as the executive director for the command operations group within our end user services area, it's that organization has quite a few different parts to it. One of them is the enterprise service desk. The other ones are our event management team. The other one is our maintenance management team. And collectively, that really kind of makes up a 24/7, 365. And the value that we have is all the customers that have an IT problem within the VA, we're the single point of contact. So there's quite a few people that contact us, and we're that single focus. We don't have any outward veteran-facing contacts, but we are the ones who help those who help the veterans. And so we take that job very seriously. I'm a veteran myself, along with a lot of my employees and stuff. So we love it, and it's a very large undertaking.
And so, Bob, as I understand it, you have one of the largest help desks, if not the largest help desk in government. And could you help me or run me through how you manage such a large enterprise and some of the challenges that you face and how you tackle them?
Yeah, I'll give you a few numbers. So we have over 500,000. It's really, so we call PIV users or end users. It's over, right now, I think it's over 650,000. So yes, we have a very large footprint. You liken that also then if you look at our enterprise, all the different medical centers, around 2,000 facilities. We support VHA, VBA, NCA, our internal staff. So it is very large. We support that many users. And then also we take in about 2 million contacts a year. So that's a large number. We have a team of vendors, what we call our partners, that help us support doing that and stuff. But fundamentally, what we have to do at that desk, and being at it so large, is we're trying to coordinate correlate all the incidents that are coming in. Then we have to coordinate tickets or major outages that are happening in the enterprise. And as you can imagine, we are another uniqueness about our ECO function is that we're 24/7. So we're always on, doesn't matter. And so we are the alarm, if you will, in the organization when something's down. We have to make sure that the major incidents are running along, they're getting resolved, because the sooner we can resolve those things, the faster we can get people back to work, and they can provide the services that they need.
Yeah, and so it's a really big enterprise. You said they're 24/7. What are some of the challenges of working through that?
So some of the challenges is really just the ebbs and flows on your normal day operations, right? So you have your main business hours, if you will. The medical centers, a lot of them are up 24/7 also, but they have reduced staff and off hours and stuff like that. So really, part of that is really making sure that we have the staffing aligned to when the bulk of the staff is going to be making calls and doing that kind of stuff. And then it's also making sure that we're managing or we're attuned to when work is being done during off hours. Because what we don't want to have happen is we don't want to call a major incident because it's maintenance. And so if you can imagine the ecosystem the size of the VA, we also have a lot of vendors that do maintenance. Telecom vendors that are outside the VA, but they're providing us the technologies. They will have maintenance also. So all of a sudden a circuit go down. If we don't know about that maintenance, we may actually stand up a call people in, wake them up. And so those are some of the complexities. And it's also making sure that we're providing the best possible customer service. Right now at the service desk, we we have a 97% uh, 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 first call resolution on tickets that they're able to do. All tickets that the service desk handles is 67% of all tickets that come into the desk, which is the 2 million incidents or contacts that we have. So those challenges, some of them are, just a volume of work that comes in. Other challenges is it's just a matter of what time of day it is. Where are people working? And then, of course, we don't do the follow the sun type of thing. We're always on. So
Yeah, and that's really interesting because you mentioned that like the scale, I'm thinking about the scale of this enterprise, the millions of incidents that you respond to. What strategies have you developed within your agency to better monitor the systems and also respond to incidents as they come up?
So one of the interesting things, and one of the aha moments that we had is looking at, on the monitoring of the systems, and it was really around how long is it taking us to actually respond to an incident. And I'm not talking about whether someone's having a problem with their desktop. I'm talking about major incidents that are actually causing an issue in the environment that could actually be taking thousands and thousands of users down. And I'm not exaggerating when I say thousands. When you have that many end users in your environment, one incident could actually affect 35,000, 40,000, endpoints and stuff. So really, we came up with what we call our MTTX, and it's an OKR, that focused around the mean time to repair, to respond, to report, and to resolve. And so that MTTX is really important to us. And we have aggressive measures that we look at, but it's really from an enterprise perspective. It falls under me because of the major incident management team, and because of the service desk, and we're always trying to get better. But that's one of the things that's really allowed us to focus in. We took that and said, okay, we start measuring, okay, how long is it taking for a ticket to be reported? So you could be having a problem in the environment and it could be going on for 24, 36 hours. That's not good, right? We want to know about it as soon as it happens. So do we have the monitoring? Do we have the tools? Do we have what we call the telemetry on that device, on that application, that's allowing us to see that it's degraded? And how degraded is it? And so from that perspective, we can look at that and say, every time we see this, that happens. So then once we start seeing it in the telemetry, then we can automatically kick off a call to get everybody on the phone or notify that that end user service area, and then they can fix it before the customer. Nirvana is that we actually get telemetry, we identify it, and we fix it before there's a customer impact. That's Nirvana. We're getting better, and we're always trying to look at how we can get it closer to zero impact. But things are going to happen. Someone's going to cut a fiber, power outages, different technologies go out, but that's really how we focus on it, and we're getting a lot better at it.
Yeah, and inside and outside government, we're hearing a lot of talk about emerging technologies. I'm thinking of like automation, AI, ML, you name it. How is your agency, or is your agency adopting these technologies, and how are you using them to, I guess, better serve the VA customers that you've been talking about?
So I'm not going to talk about what overall the agency is going to use. I'll focus it on what we are doing in ECO perspective, ECO perspective. Automation and AI enhances the help desk and the service desk tremendously. Anytime you can automate something and you take the human out of the middle, you reduce the human error aspect of it, and you're always going to have that human error. So automation is really a big thing. We use RPA in routing of known requests or incidents that we know that tier one can't add anything to it. So there's no reason for it to stop at tier one and then go someplace else. So that RPA program has been able to um, take tickets that would have normally been at the service desk and then move them onto the correct tier for faster resolution. So that's one of the aspects that we've actually used it, and that's really helped us tremendously. Um, the other things that we're looking at is AI-driven chatbots. Um, so what people don't realize, sometimes when you call a service desk or you call a credit card company or something like that, you're not really talking to a human. You're actually talking to a chatbot, and they're interacting with you, and it's all automated. So we're really looking at how can we do that with our ITSM platform, to where a lot of the things that we can automate that are done the same way each time, we're looking at that technology to be able to utilize that technology. And then we're also exploring the use of like the Copilot, especially on our major incident management side, where we're on a call and we have the data and we have all this historical data where these outages have happened in the past. And in, with that pilot program, we're looking to be able to go and look at what it is that they're talking about, and then being able to say, look at all the different outages that we've had and see if they can bring back like issues and say, hey, look here, hey, look there, and really try to utilize that to really just to reduce the amount of time that we have where a ticket, you know, the call could be ongoing as we're trying to research what the problems may or may not be. So we're excited in that space. I'm cautious about utilizing a lot of the chat GPT. There's some actions in there, but not really. But so we're really looking really on the automation side, and then also on the aspect of utilizing what the tool could provide us as far as ticket correlation as they're coming into the desk and that kind of stuff.
Mhm. I want to follow up on that because, I hear a lot from people in government that like the value in emerging technologies like this. How have you worked with, I guess, the employees that you oversee to help them understand the benefits of this technology, if that makes sense?
Well, it is, and so our tier one desk is really an outsourced desk. In 2018, the VA decided to outsource their tier one support. What they did is they took 11 desks from 11 different locations, collapsed it into a managed service. And so really, the other staff within ESD, they see that technology as being helping them be able to do more. From the tier one provider, they're also looking at it to be able to provide better customer service. So if I start typing in what this problem set is, and if I start getting back possible solutions, then I can help that customer faster. So I know AI, a lot of times you hear in that, oh, they're worried about their job. And this is not so much to reduce the staff, it's to make them more efficient and us be able to get the problem fixed faster, which sometimes means not having it make stops that it didn't need to make. We call that ticket hopping. If tier one can't help them, then they shouldn't go to tier one. They should go to tier two, tier three, so on and so forth.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I hear a lot with AI. The real draw of it is how it gets employees back on mission and gives them more time to help people. So it's awesome to see that this is happening, see it in action.
Oh, absolutely. For me, it really is an enabler. It's not so much a replacement; it's really an enabler.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so when I think about, the size and scale and scope of the enterprise, I also think about the vulnerabilities to security in terms of operations. How do you maintain that operational security for such a large enterprise?
The main portion of security, we take directions for that from our OIS, the Office of Information Security, and so, but they're really utilizing least privilege and zero trust, right? And that's the main thing, right? Is you want to make sure you're not allowing people to have access to stuff they don't have they don't have a need to have access to. Zero trust, you need to make sure that you're always authenticating people. We've implemented stricter access controls. Ensure employees can only get to the information that they need. You don't allow people to have stuff that they don't have access to. Encrypting sensitive data. Making sure that we're using multi-factor authentication. Trying to get different types of technologies that allow us to validate that user without having that human-to-human interaction. One of the technologies that we're also looking at, going back to the last one, was we're looking to do a pilot on a voice recognition. There's voice recognition technologies out there that also are good at looking at deep fakes, because that's another thing with AI, right? You're worried about deep fakes. So we're looking to possibly run a program on that. It's pretty popular in the banking industry now. So they authenticate you based on your voice. So they learn what that voice is, and then they know, okay, this is Bob Cunningham. Yes, we can give him a PIV exemption, we can give him access, or we can help him. So it's utilizing that, but also trying to take out any weaknesses. Single factor authentication is really a weakness within the environment itself. So utilizing that multi-factor authentication is really a big thing.
Yeah, and that's so interesting to me. You know, cybersecurity is only as strong as the people, within the network and how much education they have. And I suppose, how are you spreading that message across the enterprise to help people understand the importance of cybersecurity principles like zero trust?
Well, that's what's great. So our security group, led by Miss Lynette Sherrill, and her team, they do a great job, right? So they're always trying to educate us. They're always letting us know about certain weaknesses or certain things that have come up in other areas, and they're really a partner. Instead of them being a security policy shop, they're really fully operational. So it's operationalizing that security, right? So they're part of it. They're with us. It's always interesting when you run an operations area, you're focused on how is that operation going to actually function, right? And you typically have to run that operation within certain rules and parameters. But when you have everybody looking from an operational perspective, then you start figuring, okay, I may not be able to do it this way, but I can do it that way. So working hand in hand with security with everything we do, and also making it everybody's responsibility. I'm responsible to help secure the network. I do that by making sure that we're as secure as we can be at the desk. Make sure that we're processing PIV exemptions or password resets appropriately. Make sure we're not giving our access out, and trying to find ways that we can do that more secure. Trying to get that person to where they can't, you can't go in and try to tell, somebody go in as Bob Cunningham. They can look at across the social media. They can get my name, they get my address, they get my phone number. You can get my birth date. There's all kinds of ways you can get stuff, right? So then you can go in and social engineer and actually get into an organization that way. So we actually will provide training to the staff. Be careful of this, especially if we saw a large breach somewhere, we'll provide that training out there.
Mm-hmm. I mean, this all sounds great, and when I think about the help desk, its size, it's a leader within the VA, obviously, but also within government as a whole. And so, I feel like people are always looking at the big fish and trying to see what lessons they can learn and pull away from
Yes.
it. What lessons can you impart to other agencies with similar help desk and help them understand, we've been here, we've done this, and this is what works, and have them adopt it into their own practices?
And that's actually a two-way street. So when I first came into the VA and I was the director of the of just the service desk, I tried to get, okay, let me go to another like size organization, both in industry and in the government. It was like, okay, Bob, that's funny. To us, a large help desk is 250,000 incidents a year. Okay, I do that in a month. And so it was hard to find. But a lot of our lessons learned, and we communicate across the government and even with the industry, is really just having clear communications. That's probably the biggest thing, is having clear communications between our service desk and then users. You've got to set that expectation, let them know what it is. Develop and maintain a knowledge base. Our knowledge base is key. And what I mean by that is, when you call our desk, they look up a knowledge article. That knowledge article basically outlines everything they should do. It also tells them if this should be able to be resolved on the first call. Sometimes they can't. The system is just broke or something like that. But it tells them what they can do. So knowledge is key also. And then basically it's the investment on the staff, right? You have to keep them additional security measures, right, on how to do that. Training them on the new technologies that you're rolling out. Always investing in them also. That's a big thing. And then also just making sure that you're hyper focused on the desk metrics themselves. Are they adhering to their SLAs? When you do set up a desk, what are the SLAs that are important to you? How much do you want to spend? The more SLAs and the faster call, the faster call times, the longer the call goes on, is the more expensive it is. So we have a sweet spot on our average handle time. We have a sweet spot on our average time to answer. Sometimes they want all the calls answered in 15 seconds. That's very expensive. But if you can elongate that to 150 seconds, then it's going to be cheap. And so you have to look at that. And so you really have to focus on that. So we let them know that when we first kicked off the desk, we were at 30 seconds on our AHA. And then now we're at 150 seconds. But we also, we talked to the customers. We actually ran a couple polls to ask them, how long is too long for you to wait before you get to an agent? And so we took that information. And then really just making sure that we're adapting different ways to do things, always looking to get better. One of the hardest things to do is saying, okay, can you get better at this? You always, the answer to that, in my opinion, okay, the answer to that is yes. You could always get better. So always be open to, how can you do something better? And so that's how we share it. And then also when we're talking to these, even the small organizations, we ask them how they're doing. What are you doing that is in, what kind of technologies are you using? To get how they're doing. Because we learn from them also.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Bob, that was a really fascinating conversation. Before we go, I do want to ask if there's anything that we didn't talk about that you think is like a burning issue and want to discuss.
Yeah, and that is everything's customer service focused, right? And so I'd really like to say that we at the VA with our service desk we're focused on the customer, and our customer satisfaction scores are are awesome. We have an ACD survey out of a 5-star. Currently, we rerun at a 4.8. We have a survey from our tickets. That's out of a 5-star. That's at a 4.6. Some of the other things that we have, actually, the VA, out of the big 6 organizations, the last 4 years have been rated #1, and that's from a GSA survey. So I'm very proud of the customer service. I'm very, very proud of what we're doing. More importantly, we can always do better. And I think that, I would say that my staff also, says that we can always do better. We're always looking at different ways that we can reduce the volume at the desk and really help us.
It's great. Well, Bob, thank you so much for joining us. That was really insightful, and I'm looking forward to seeing how you continue to serve the customer at VA.
Thank you very much.
GovCast, along with Cybercast and HealthCast, is a production of GovCIO Media and Research. For more podcasts and to check out the other shows, head to govciomedia.com.